Can we talk about Indiana a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Because IU is first of all very good. I think this IU
they're
team
good.
is going to be great defensively, and I think they showed it at times. North Carolina definitely helps with that, though. I mean, when Caleb Love and RJ Davis are shooting step backs with their heels on the 3-point line, and
in transition,
yeah, that'll make any team look good defensively.
Yeah.
But there's reason to be optimistic if you're a Hoosier fan. What Indiana has shown so far. First of all, Jalen Hood-Schifino can
look good.
He can go.
He's got confidence.
He's got a little. Him and Xavier Johnson were getting a little too Caleb Love, RJ Davis.
It's infectious.
It is infectious.
I think that's part of the
They're
problem.
Like, how come
too.
they get to shoot those? I want to do that. And Hood-Schifino threw some dumb passes. But this game did not, from my perspective, it did not feel as close as like the final score indicated.
No.
I think the Indiana fans in my life were going nuts about the officiating. It's hard to feel too sorry for a team when you're up by a lot, and then you're also complaining about the officials.
You're also like picking guys up 30 feet from the basket, holding on to them every time.
And you're very physical. I mean, the refs, it is what it is, but it's also like, I mean, come on,
you dominated the game.
You dominated the game. So
okay.
it's not like I'm not going to cry for you.
Yeah, you're okay.
But to their point, Indiana, what was the final? They ended up winning by 12, I think.
I think so.
Was it 12? Is that what we got? Yeah, 65-77. It felt like a 20-plus game, and really Carolina's free throws are what kept the Tar Heels even kind of in this. And Indiana, I still have like PTSD from watching some of these guys break so many threes through the years that like when IU misses like 2 or 3 threes in a row, I'm like, this is the exact same team. Never mind. Sell. Panic. But no, man, Hood-Schifino changes things for me because he's a guy that I'm very confident in.
And he's a lot
very
of confidence
in himself.
Yeah.
And that to me has been one of the problems watching IU is like, they're like an abused puppy that Archie Miller like did something to that group that they came out of it. And even last year in year one of the Mike Woodson era, like the guys who were the holdovers still had this like fear in their eyes, like we're not allowed to shoot.
Trey Galloway would not even look at the basket.
Yes. Yeah. Trey Galloway. We saw him in quote unquote Maui, which is actually Asheville, North Carolina. And Trey Galloway would be wide open and just would not even look at the bench. He's looking for Trace, and then he's looking at the bench, and that was all he was doing. And that's like he'd trying
give
to
the
like
basket like a side eye. He wanted to look, but he couldn't.
And they've been trying to break out of that mold, and Mike Woodson's trying to introduce like his NBA ideals, which are basically shoot it if you're open. I think that's what the NBA is. That's on every locker room in the NBA. I think. I don't know. I didn't play in the NBA. Some of my friends did. They told me if you're open, shoot it. That's on every single locker. So now, like to watch those guys do that last year, but then they were bricking, and that's like frustrating. Guys like Miller Kopp, like were supposed to be another Northwestern transfer, by the way. Shout out Northwestern.
Yeah.
Brian Young at Duke, Pete Nance at Carolina, Miller Kopp at they would have a pretty good ball club if they
had a coach. I mean, like, could you imagine how bad Chris Collins must be?
But no, Indiana, it's coming together, and I think Jalen Hood-Schifino for me is like the big reason why, because it's basically the same team as last year, and they play similarly in the sense that like Xavier Johnson he had a great game tonight. He had 20 points. He also had like 2 or 3 plays where I'm like, what are we doing out here? Yeah. Again, like he's watching too much Caleb Love. But to have a guy in Hood-Schifino who's just like otherworldly talented and is clearly like a guy you can give the ball to and say, make something for us. That's what they've been missing for the last few years. And I don't know, I'm pretty fired up for IU for that reason.
And Woody, I was happy for Mike Woodson at the end of the day. I was really excited when he got hired because we talked to your dad when it happened, and he was so fired up. He brought back, Bob Knight was at practice the other day. You got Christian Watford sitting behind the bench. You know what I mean? If you're an Indiana fan and if you subscribe to Indiana basketball and the history of it all, I mean, this is a big win. You beat North Carolina. You beat a blue blood on your floor. Mike Woodson looks like he's got everything moving in the right direction. You have a talented player in Trace Jackson Davis who stepped up. Tonight, when it was Baycott versus Trace Jackson Davis, only one guy showed up. And again, I know Baycott is dealing with injuries, whatever. If you're out there, you're out there. Trace Jackson Davis took it head on and was like, I'm going to have some moments in this game where you can't stop me. And he played that way. And granted, Pete Nance at a couple times, was the guy guarding him, and that is a problem. But at the end of the day, he answered the bell. And I'm happy.
Beyond how they're playing, like Trace Jackson Davis looks like he's having so much more fun.
Of course.
That's what stands out to me, too, is it just Trace Jackson Davis, when he misses shots, looks like happier than Bakeout when he dunks the ball. It's crazy.
I mean, expectations are a hell of a thing, and they affect people in different ways. And I think for Indiana, you should be excited that, I mean, coming into this game, they should have had more expectations and more pressure in theory.
Yeah, they should have.
Being at home, playing a blue blood, Carolina should have nothing to lose. But North Carolina is still playing in free fall. We're scared to fail. And while you're scared to fail, you continue to fail and compound the mistakes. Because I said this to you while we were watching, North Carolina is trying to win the game every possession, and then when they don't score, they hang their head.
It does feel like that.
Scores.
It does feel like that. It feels like you guys are still stuck in this mode where you're tied with Duke with 2 minutes left.
Exactly, and we haven't gotten out of it.
Shot.
We got to get out of the simulation.
And
like it's
every
over.
guy
We
is
did beat K. The game is over.
Every
move
guy,
on.
Every single guy with Carolina is like, I'm going to hit the big shot.
Yeah.
This is the dagger. And it's like there's 14 minutes left in the first half. We don't need the dagger.
And we're playing Portland. Why are we losing by 5? You know what I mean? That is the problem. And if you're Indiana coming into this game, they just came out and played physical and played winning basketball, and they're going to win a lot of games. And when it gets to the tournament, I think that last year they had their first taste. They got hit in the mouth, obviously, but they did get a win. Granted, it was the play-in situation. But regardless, I think this year they're going to be much more equipped to handle expectations and to handle success.
Well,
and that's encouraging, and that's credit to Mike Woodson.
I think it's also the formula, as I will continue to say as long as I sit in front of a microphone and talk about college basketball, the formula will always be defense and guard play.
Yeah.
And
Indiana
has both. It's on tonight. Based on tonight.
And they got 2 bigs, maybe 3 bigs.
Yeah.
I like the other guy off the bench. So.
Yeah. Fun times for Indiana.
Hey there. Thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.